DJ Dane here with Garrett First and Arnaldo Offerman. We're about to go live for his LD on a budget seminar.
And it's going to be called LD Foot Through My Something Seminar. I don't know if you guys are familiar with my YouTube channel. I have these rant videos. One's about to happen live in front of y'all.
And you're all on it.
We're all included. Alright, well, today's giveaway is this. If you guys can make it one.
This is a hands-on seminar about troubleshooting.
So,
we were talking about that earlier.
Yeah.
let me tell you the first mistake that we made, because we don't have a lot of time to set this up. We plugged everything in one shot. I get onto my staff for doing that. I tell them you plug one light at a time and you don't continue until that light works. Then I realized I need better staff, because what I had one guy, he had it working, he unplugs it, wires the next one in. I come in, now the lights are hooked up. Well, what'd you do? I plug one at a time. Like, you idiot.
Maybe it was a training. I would say training.
Huh.
Pretty tough.
Yeah, this is,
DMX correctly?
let's see. We're gonna hold this down. Or on...
Oh, we have colors.
No, that's because I'm on slave mode here.
Well, you stand there.
I'm a
Yeah.
slave!
Oh, it's because
This is red, guys.
it's on 8 channel or 12 channel mode.
Then it's B.
Do we have anything yet?
Nope.
Okay, well, we found one thing. It seems to have reset itself.
Hmm.
I need that phone.
Well, back to Chavez, guys.
You get out!
Oh. He just said a bad word.
What's going to start that rant show now, Sean?
You know what really grinds our jog wheels?
Is anybody here offended by potty words?
Yeah, that's right. We have to do the disclaimer at the beginning of our show, so we didn't do that yet.
How? Okay, that's so. Let's see.
If you argued wrong.
Jake set him up, though. Go to a different mic.
We get
just to
drunk
make sure
and-
it's not. Plug that in.
And try to wire a light?
Yeah, just put that light on.
Okay, what do we have here? Nothing?
13.
45.
Oh,
Is it
there.
switching back and forth?
Yeah, switching back and forth.
Okay, we've got a short in the box. So. Alright, meanwhile, while we wait for this, I'm going to give you all some good news. If you happen to have, in this case, for example, this box is just having issues, and you use CompuShow like I do, go to Guitar Center and pick up a My DMX Buddy. My DMX Buddy, as of last week, will now run CompuShow if you buy the license for it, and will even run, any reason you want to run Freestyler, My DMX Buddy and the box will now run Freestyler as well. So it does give you a lot of different options. We're just going to pretend this is running. As a matter of fact, you want to just take that off the live stream, okay? So, it's good. I'm glad we set that up for nothing. That's the giveaway. How much longer? Okay, I
You're
guess.
saying if we have
We're already in live stream.
Oh, great. We're in a live stream.
Yeah.
My DMX buddy and just run CompuShow.
Yeah. So the way that it works, I'll kind of talk about that first real quick, because I don't have enough time. That's not what I would be doing right now. The way that it works is you go to the website, dmxoff.com, and then you buy all your channels. If you have the buddy, if you have the box, you're set. And then you can buy the individual licenses. So you have the My DMX3 full, you have CompuShow, and then you can even buy ArtNet, because My DMX now supports ArtNet. So this is the Airstream bridge. This Airstream runs the newest version 3 firmware, so that means it runs any ArtNet software. So if you don't like the Airstream bridge software and you want to download Luminaire, you can now use Luminaire on this. You can even use competitor software as long as it runs with as long as it runs with ArtNet. So I can actually run CompuShow off the Airstream bridge if I wanted to, which would have been what I'd done, but apparently it's not a thing today. So you guys can hear me just fine, right? Because he says it doesn't smell. This smells really bad. And this is not exactly a great sound system. So let's go over here. Today we're going to talk about LD on a budget. I'm going to call this frustrated LD on a budget. And how many microphones does it take to not sound work at a DJ convention? So the main reason I want to do this is because every seminar that I've done for quite some time has always talked about more expensive lighting. You know, hey, you can do this with a $1,000 moving head. But let's face it, not many people are ready to plunk down 10 grand for lighting. Some of us only have a couple of lights. The thing that drives me nuts is the DJs think that because they don't have an expensive lighting system that they're not an LD. So for example, this is one of the typical systems that I take out for a wedding. And I can do more with this than most DJs can do with a dozen different floods and moving heads, because it's all in not only how you sell it to the client, but what you're able to do with it. So first, let's talk about what is a lighting designer. The big difference between a lighting designer is that, I assume you guys are all DJs, right? So let's say you come in, you're setting up your console, your laptop, or whatever, whether you use a laptop or USB sticks, your speakers. Those are all important things to be a DJ. How many lights do you need to be able to DJ? Exactly, 0. You are not a DJ, and these are not DJ lights. These are event lights. We got to get out of that stigma of, well, I need lights to DJ. No, you don't need lights to DJ. Jazzy Jeff set up 0 lights to DJ. There's a whole different designer team. So I don't care whether you're bringing a couple of basic lights or you're bringing a huge light show. You got to remind yourself, okay, once you set up a single uplight in a room, you're now a lighting designer. You want to act like one, because that is what separates us and what allows you to sell more than just a DJ bringing in a couple of lights. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. So as far as the stigma or the overall thinking of a DJ thinking versus LD thinking when it comes to lighting. First, an LD understands the layout of a room and is prepared for it. Unlike what you just saw happening here. LD is always prepared in that sense. But they also understand the room temperatures. So for example, here, it's not exactly the coolest looking room, as far as very warm lights. So if I have a wooden dance floor here, and I bring something with a warm LED or a warm bulb, and I'm trying to project a gobo on the dance floor, it's not going to show up, plain and simple. So this would allow me, as a LD, I would come in, look at the room, you know what, we're going to use a cool white LED or a cool bulb to be able to project the gobos. That also even affects how the gobos look on the wall. If you've ever been to one room like, man, the gobo looks great, and then the next day that same gobo just doesn't look quite the same, it could even be a smaller room. It's strictly because of that ambient temperature in the room. So you really, as an LD versus a DJ, when a DJ we come in, we're like, oh man, you're going to put us in the corner. It's more than just putting your sound system in the corner. Where should your lighting tree go?
No, he puts
This
DJ
is one
in the
thing that
corner.
drives me nuts. Every DJ puts the stand behind them. Here's their system. And yet somehow they get the bright idea of having the first dance here and the photographer shoots that one. So not only are we in the background of every shot, and we're usually not standing there looking elegant, we're usually freaking out about the next thing we got to worry about, but now you have these lights pointing down at the bride and groom, which looks great to the audience, but to the camera, all they're seeing is nothing but silhouettes. These should be on the other side of the room. If I'm here, the bride and groom table's here, and the dance floor's here, those lights should be over there. Where grandma's not going to say, you're blinding me. Well, stop looking at the lights, grandma. And you'll always get one too. But it's also about what looks good in photos. When you're, as an LD, yeah, you want to design not just what looks good for the human eye, but what looks good for photos. I don't care if it looks beautiful to when the bride and groom walk in. If it doesn't look good in a photo, if those blues don't look blue, it's not happening. Because people don't remember the wedding or the event by how great it looked in person as much as they do in the photos afterwards. We've all done, especially us, because we're in the industry. We look at somebody else's event, we're like, man, that looks horrible. And the person's like, no, it looked really good in person. Well, it looks bad in photos, and now you're judging that person because of that. So imagine what a client that doesn't understand how that works would feel like. Also, LDs will spend as much time plotting and planning out their lights as much as a DJ plans their crates and Serato of Despacito remixes. First of all, I'm a DJ. I totally believe that we have to spend some time organizing music. I will also say that any DJ that says they spend 20 hours organizing music a week is full of crap, because you're just really badly disorganized. But when it comes to lighting, it can take 20, 30 hours in 1 week just plotting out once you get to the big type of events. But just like, for example, at a wedding, you're not just showing up and playing random music and pray it works. You're preparing your list. You're talking to your clients. It should be the same way with your lighting. You should know when you walk into a venue where all your outlets are, what outlets are mapped to what breaker, because once you're doing lighting, even with LED, one day you'll plug a little bit too much and you lose power. And it's never when it's convenient. It's never when everybody's all outside in the ceremony. It's always in the middle of the first dance when something goes bad, every time. But the most important thing is that an LD does not subscribe to the DJ mentality of buy every freaking light, which is ironic since a DJ sponsors my seminar and they want you to buy lights. And they do, but they don't want you to buy the wrong lights where you're not happy with them and now you're like, well, I'm not going to get these lights because these are the wrong lights. I think uplighting is one of the biggest ones for this. There's multiple kinds of LED floods. You've got COB LED, you have hex, you have quad LED. All of them have their pros and cons. But if you don't know what you're going to look into or what you're going to get into, you may not be happy with that first purchase. And suddenly that cheap uplighting purchase becomes twice as expensive because you bought the wrong lights the first time. And by the time you figure it out, oops, it's too late to return them. But the most important part is that both an LD and a DJ can use the same lights, and that's really what this seminar is about. I'm going to show you some stuff that I've done with typical DJ lights. There are some things that show like some of the more expensive lights, but all the videos and photos that I'm going to show you have been with lights that cost less than $500 each. Because I remember when I first started, I didn't say, boy, can't wait to dump 25 grand in the next 3 months in lights. If you guys have $25,000 to spend, please see me, because I will sell you some great stuff, but not everybody has that budget. So this is really what this is talking about. So first, let's talk about the overall lighting design. It doesn't have to be complex. Lighting design is just that. What design are you doing with your lights? One of my favorite lights is a flood. I don't care what flood you use. If you are going to events and you're not using floods, you're ignoring the #1 rule of lighting design, and that is room transformation. What is, for a wedding, why are you bringing your lights out? If you're bringing up lights and you're doing a room transformation and you don't know that for some reason somebody thought it'd be a great idea to put these hideous things and now it's blocking all your lights, well, now you've got a problem. Now you have to have your lights. This is back when, you know, they had like the flat part type lights. Now you got them over here. You're kind of shoving stuff underneath to get it to prop up. And now you got the light halfway sticking out, and then an uncle or a drunk aunt or children trip over it, and now you've got to do LD, DJ, and babysitting. But now that you have lights, for example, like the Element Pars, where you can back them up a little bit, but you don't have to back them up as much as a traditional par, you can flood the different areas out. And you can see that the Daru did that on the sides there. And I really pick on these things because it seems the prettier the venue, the further these stick out from the walls. So again, keep it simplistic as far as looking into your par. What kind of par do you want? So I want to show you something that I did. I had an event. This was at the Rosen Shingle Creek. If you guys are not familiar with the Rosen, it's a very high-end hotel in Orlando. Every event that they have there, there's always somebody breathing down your neck trying to tell you what to do. The worst thing, like, you know, as DJs, we hate when somebody's like, oh, I'm a DJ too. That is not more aggravating. Somebody's like, oh, I do lighting too. Go away. Because as a DJ, you can put your headphones on. But if you're in there doing a lighting only event, it's not like you can just turtle back into your DMX console. So this is what I did. I had the 2 pars, and usually if this is a very simple par system, meaning the Brandon Group had no budget for lighting after they spent on DJ and whatever else, I have a couple of pars, I'll put them on a T-stand there, or my speakers are tall enough that I have mounts on top of the speakers to put them on. This happened to be a 2-story building. So I came in ahead of time, I talked to them, I said, hey, can I hang off your balcony? What is that rated for? I mean, I don't care what it's rated for. It's 2 plastic par cans. If that balcony falls apart because of 2 plastic par cans, we've got a much bigger problem in hand. I went ahead, set that up. We didn't have DMX at that point. I just had the little wireless remote. But here's what happens. Very simple design. It's almost common sense. But they wind up flooding the entire room. 2 par cans flooded the entire room. Just to give you an idea, that is a 30 by 30 dance floor. And I was able to flood all that with 2 par cans using these. We'll cover this last because this is one of my favorite parts. But pars can do more than just keeping it simple like that. As far as, for example, we did the grand entrance, we color corrected the room. So that room has very yellow lights. I don't know if you guys can see because we had some, actually, right there where that little chandelier is, they wanted that on. The only way the chandelier is on is if those ugly yellow lights. So during the first dance, when you took a photo, you just saw nothing but that yellow light. So of course the photographer can correct and all that, but it still didn't look quite right. So by adding a little bit of that cool LED to balance without yellow, we kind of sat there and played with the color until I found a color that worked, saved it as a macro, and we were good to go. But then going back on the pars, again, I love pars, I can't say that enough. I had a bride that said, I don't want lighting, I hate lighting, I think lighting is terrible. And it's really hard not to sound like a smartass when you ask her, so how do you like walk around your house at night? Like, do you just bump into things? And she goes, no, I just think lighting is tacky. I don't want strobe light. She had this bad image on lighting because DJs are sitting there running strobe lights for first dances. And I know I shouldn't say, hey guys, don't run a strobe light for your first dance. Spend 5 minutes on YouTube. I guarantee you somebody's using a strobe during the first dance. Just not even 5 minutes, 2.5 minutes. I'll make a rant show about it. So I talked to her and I'm like, so what do you want your wedding to look like? It's a really pretty outdoor venue. Well, it's outdoor and indoor. It's indoors, but it looks like it's outdoors. The ceilings are all glass. It was a really interesting, trippy venue. We went over and took a look at it. She goes, when we're having dinner, you know, it's like we have this and this color, and unfortunately there's only so much we can do with the color, so, you know, because there's only centerpieces. The room doesn't allow you to really hang any pipe and drape or anything. Then we're all gonna leave. We're gonna do the bouquet and garter. We're gonna do our toast outside by the little lobby fountain area. By then it should be dark. People are gonna come in and we're gonna have some Chinese lanterns, paper lanterns hung. Cool. So I talked to her about uplights, or not uplights, floodlights. She goes, I really don't like lighting. I'm like, let me show you some stuff. So I did a 3D diagram. At that point I was using my 3D visualizer. She went for it. Let me show you the final outcome. So what we did is we had these were the QWA5s, but the wireless battery-powered ones, the QWA Wi-Fi's. We just flooded the entire area. Even with the sun coming in and everything else, you can still see some splashes of her color. And she was thrilled, A, that she was able to have the wedding colors that she wanted without overshadowing the room. When we did the first dance, we actually timed the lights to go a little bit with the sunset. So basically, as the sun was setting down, the lights were going down with it. After that was done, everybody went outside. They did their toast, cake cutting, etc. They hung the lanterns, and by they, I mean I had to hang the lanterns. And then we changed the whole room to red. And she was expecting that because we sold it to her that way, but she wasn't expecting to what extent. And not only did it look amazing because it had the lanterns and everything lit up, and this was only with 2 cans on each side, but everybody was also lit up in the colors that she wanted. It looked elegant, it didn't look like a party atmosphere, but I was using the same lights that other DJs are using to strobe during the first dance. That's the difference between a DJ and an LD. And she was thrilled about it. I had another package, again, very similar to that. Long story short, just to do the lighting on that, you know, if it was some basic, it's like $200 to $300 to set up 4 park cans. But when I'm rigging, that number has a 0 at the end of it. You want the lights to disappear, that costs extra because I'm having to hang stuff, I'm having to have the proper insurance. But when we talk about lighting, we need to talk about aesthetics. Make the lights disappear. You know, people talk about, oh man, well, I don't like how that fixture looks. Who cares? If you're doing your job right, your client should have noticed a fixture. If a bride walks in and says, I can see that light there, I can see those cables hanging, if it's that bad that an end user notices that, we're not doing our jobs. But again, that was done with those parts thanks to the diffusion gels. We're gonna cover that in just a second. Actually, we're gonna cover that now. So let's see here. I'll pass these around so you guys can take a look. These are called the LSF, the light shaping filters. By no means is this a new thing. ADJ has had this for years, and I think people dropped the ball not having on this. You see, what these do is they shape your lights. Let's go ahead and turn that on. I'm gonna show you a couple different ones.
These take home?
Yes, those are to take. No, of course you're not to take home. Dang it, dang. All right, so we've got this guy over here. So here's your traditional uplight. Great. And if I want to flood an area, this has a pretty good spread. Some lights don't have as good of a spread as that. But I'm not going to be able to hit an entire 30 by 30 dance floor with 2 of these. There's no way. So now I can shape the beam. We got 10 degree, 30 degree, just to show you what a 10 degree looks like. So there's a 10 degree there. It's kind of hard to see to the human eye, especially with this. But what happens is all that stray light, your camera won't capture as much. The 30 degree breaks that down a little bit more. So now we've got 2 things. One, we've got a much wider spread of light. This is the same fixture. You see it here? And now it's more evenly spread. This does 2 things. One, it allows you one light to give you more coverage, but it gets rid of the hot spot. You guys ever had a photographer send you photos of your setup and you have like a really pretty like blue light, but there's white right in the dead center? That's the hot spot. The reason is because that area is brighter. Cameras can only see one aperture of color at a time, and unlike the human eye. So it just sees the blue and the rest is overexposed. But then you've got the 60. I want to make sure this is the right one. Yeah, this is cool. This is a true light shaping filter. It's a 60 by 1. So what it does is, we're going to put it here. We've got a nice 60 degree beam. You see that? I can now do a nice wall wash. If you got a facade, right now, you want to buy yourself the 60 by 1. Well, now watch what happens when I turn it. Ready? you got a tight 1 degree beam. Turn it back, 60 degree. Y'all can say, ooh, ah. So this is huge. Real case study on the 60x1. A lot of people think, oh, this is great for uplighting, but it's more than just that. I did one of his best friend's weddings, and it was a really long, wide room. We had a couple tripod profiles. When we hit the tripod profiles, along with the other lights that they had, it was too much light on the dance floor, not enough light on the outer edges. So we took the 60x1, which gave us a really sharp, wide beam like that, and now we had those tripod profiles aimed at the back of the room. So now those back walls were evenly hit. If I remove it, it just doesn't look the same. These little things give you 3-4 times more use out of your light than having to buy, now you gotta buy linear uplighting and this kind of uplight, that uplighted degrees. Just get these. And the way it works is you've got an entire roll, you cut it to size. These don't have gel holders like the 12Ps right here do. These don't, so I just put a little bit of Velcro. And we are good to go. But now let's talk about DJ lights. Do you guys, anybody here has, like, for example, the mini deckers or the boom boxes? You guys are all familiar with those. So the question is, well, what can I really do with that as far as lighting design? I'm actually going to use a video from one of my friends, Marvin. He has a whole bunch of mini deckers, and what he does is mind-blowing. Check this out. Oh, let's play the video. That might help too. So he had spotlights on, dimmed it down, and that's just with the mini deckers. Very simple effect. For us, we're like, well, duh, we should have tried that. But that was what he sold to a bride, and brides love this look. Again, just with the uplights and a mini decker. And you're talking just lights that are under, $80 each. He had, for example, he did the projector mapping with the mirror ball. He tied some advanced concepts, but again, really brought it together. But now let's say it's not just weddings, or let's say you're doing a school dance or a corporate event and you have high energy music. He continued that on. Look at this. This thing is wicked. I don't know what the DJ's doing, but... So here's what we can take away from that. Those mini deckers are under $80 each, right? They're an incredible fixture. You guys saw what he just did with 6 of them. Okay, 6 lights times $80. I am a calculus student, which means I use a calculator. But actually, I think he had 8 of them. I can't remember when he had, but he didn't have that many of them. He spent less in those deckers than I spent on one moving head. What do you think would give a better effect, a single moving head or those mini deckers? I mean, that was an incredible looking effect. But what is it he did? I mean, it really wasn't a placement. He placed it behind the DJ. Well, duh. He made it, but for the wedding, you couldn't even see where those deckers were coming from. I mean, you guys saw the videos. Anybody want to take a guess where the deckers are?
Underneath the speaker.
No.
No?
See those spotlights right there? He's got them underneath each one. I'm like, where did you have them? I could not see them at all. He had them underneath the spotlights. And then, of course, he had some off to the side, which you can't see off camera. But the big difference that he did that a DJ wouldn't do is DMX. Look, I know some people out there say, oh, I don't need DMX. My clients don't notice. Your clients don't notice because they don't need to notice because that's not who you're targeting. If you want to target the brides and the grooms and the corporate events and the school dances to pay more money, you need to deliver the next step up. The problem is that those clientele are used to working with companies that are bringing in tens of thousands of dollars in lighting that you guys may not have yet. How do you get there? I've been there. I took 4 schools only from only having 8 lights to being the biggest school dance company and one of the biggest production companies in our state, just by following these concepts. DMX, I don't care who tells you otherwise. If you don't have DMX, you need to leave this room when we're done, no, not right now, and go buy yourself a DMX software. I don't care who it's from. It should definitely have ADJ because you'll get better support because this real cool guy does all the tutorials for him. But that aside, get DMX because you saw what he did with a few $80 lights in DMX. Most people can't even do that with $2,500 lights because no DMX, no light show. So, now let's talk about gobos. Now, gobos are pretty common sense. But why is it that every DJ, when they think of gobos, they think of monograms? Okay, monograms. Let's talk about that for a second. It's a one-time use. They cost $69 at the cheapest, which is a really good price. I use Pro Gobo personally. Some of you guys use transparencies. Don't, please. You guys want to be professional? How about you bring a professional product? Let me go on a rant for a second. Stop bringing out crap transparencies, and then blaming DJs that are coming in with just an iPod. You're no better. If you want to be an LD, you gotta act like an LD. Bring the right tools for the job in that sense. That being said, no transparencies, but the gobos. One-time use, $69. Now, in my market, some DJs charge between $100 for a gobo because they like hemorrhaging money. Some people do $300 for a custom gobo. PSAV in our area charges $500 to $700 for a custom gobo. Does anybody know the difference between PSAV setting up a gobo and us? Okay, me neither. Apparently they're better salesmen than we are. So we're clearly undercharging for gobos. But then once I got into school dances, yeah, we don't do as much custom gobos. I mean, as far as with their school name, because we have lasers and all that, but also because I like making as much money as possible because I'm cheap. So what I did is I bought a huge catalog of just the pre-made, what we call the stock gobos. Now this is done with only 2 icon profiles. It's kind of really, man, this projector does not bode very well with me here. But you guys can see there, this was a tangled theme. We had some uplights in the back. We had them in gradient shades of purple to pink, or pink to purple, excuse me. And then we just had 2 of the icon profiles doing the actual gobo projections. I have one event where we just did that. They already had the python drape and the uplighting. And just to do the 2 gobos, I want to say it was like $450 with setup and delivery. And they were only like 10 minutes away from me. We literally sat there, set it up, left, came back. And apparently I still undercharged because PSAV charged a heck of a lot more than that. So there's a fun fact there. But again, when you think about gobos, don't just think about monograms. Think about wall patterns. Wall patterns are huge. Hey, I was just talking about you. I promise the timing was totally coincidental. But the great thing about the wall patterns is you can use them again and again and again. And many people wind up falling in love with the wall patterns. There is a gobo, I don't know if, hopefully Pro Gobo, I don't know if they have one or not with them. David Totero, you guys know Platinum Weddings and that guy right there. The thing about David Totero is even though he's a wedding planner, he loves lighting and he puts a lot of emphasis in lighting. He had this gobo, it was a beautiful scroll gobo, and every bride went nuts for it. The problem is on an icon profile, it was really difficult to get the right size. Again, that's why I'll plug Pro Gobo, because they're the only ones that made the gobo that small. But as soon as we brought that out to a bridal show, no, they were not concerned with photo booth or cake mapping or glow-in-the-dark bubbles. It was, you have the David Totero gobo. Yeah, David Totero invented it, sure, no worries. But we wrote on that guy's coattails. Hey, do you watch David Totero? Yeah. What do you think about Platinum Weddings? Oh my God, it's so beautiful. I wish I could afford that. Well, let me show you. Here's a screenshot from the show. And here's the exact same wall pattern that we have. Don't call them gobos. Brides don't want to hear the word gobos. They don't know what that is. Don't call them monograms because everybody else is calling them monogram. Call it a different name. Wall projection, wall patterns. Find something that makes you stand out. If you say, we offer gobos, and the other DJ's like, we offer gobos too. Great, now it's a price pattern, or a price match, excuse me, it's a battle. If they say, well, we offer gobos, we offer custom wall redecoration. What the heck is that? I literally just pulled that one out of my butt. Jason Jana uses the term lightscaping. We just use wall patterns because nobody else in our area uses that term. It's like, well, what's a wall pattern? Well, let me show you what the room looks like. So again, really think about taking the power of gobo and just doing something besides monograms with them, because everybody else is doing monograms. I'm not saying you can too, but do the custom ones. And then we do get custom wall projections. So what I mean by that is I had a school, their theme was diamonds or our best friend or something about diamonds. There is no diamond projection pattern. So I sent them the gobo, and of course I'm never easy about it. Here's a really low resolution image, good luck, of some diamonds. They made the gobo, and now I've got 3 or 4 other schools that want that pattern. Oh, what's great is I can charge whatever the heck I want because nobody else has that pattern readily available. Next, let's talk about pocket spots. Most people would not think about being able to do lighting design with a 12-watt LED. Whenever you guys shop for lighting, just please do me a favor, not just lighting but speakers, get the word wattage out of your mouth. Wattage is not a measurement of brightness, and it's not a measurement of how loud a speaker is. You will never go to a professional car audio comp and like, how loud was your car? 15,000 watts. Wow, you win. There's so much more that goes into having a good spot or a good light in general besides just wattage. So again, 12 watt LED, but I guarantee you this guy is going to be brighter than a knockoff 25 or 50 watt LED, and I've got the videos to prove it. You have optics, you have the type of LED, and I don't know if you guys know how LEDs work. LEDs don't turn on, they don't dim. They have what we call pulse width modulation. That's why with some of the cheaper LEDs, you know, like if you move your head really fast, the LED kind of strobes. It's exactly what it's doing. Everything strobes. These things are strobing, but our brain dims it down for us because otherwise we'd be having seizures all the time. So what happens with pulse width modulation is you have a driver for that. And some people will take really good drivers and put them on really crappy LEDs, say it's a 75 watt LED, but what it is a 50 watt LED gasping for its life. But again, wattage doesn't matter. It's how bright something is. So how do you determine that? Doesn't matter which manufacturer you talk to. When you're looking at moving heads, when you're looking at par cans, you want to look at there's lux rating. Try to go for the lumen rating if at all possible. You're going to get better results that way because most of them are using lumens. Look at lumens, look at the output, and it'll tell you, like ADJ has photometrics for everything. This moving head is at 3 meters, is this many lumens at this angle. And some people will only use 10, 12 degrees. ADJ I know uses 18 degrees. Obviously, the brighter that number is, the better it is. But don't compare a 12 degree rating versus an 18 degree. If you want, I can talk your ear off about that after the seminar, but there's a lot of different ways that you can tell. Ultimately, wattage isn't it. Same thing with a speaker. You guys know that a 200 watt rated speaker today can do a lot more than what a 200 watt rated speaker did a few years back. Same thing with lighting. So now let's talk about these lights. I had an event. They didn't have a lot of money. They didn't have a lot of room either. So they just wanted some very basic cake spots. They wanted a spot on their head table, even with the lights on. So that's, man, this projector really does a terrible job with colors. Look at that room. He looks scared right now. This is what we did. When we came in the room and we did the final consultation, again, I go to the building or the venue if I don't know it, because I want to be able to see, okay, how much more money can I sell you in lighting? Most of the venues in Florida were designed by Helen Keller, and it seems that they just chose the ugliest colors, the ugliest wallpaper, the ugliest everything. I'm sorry if I've offended any Helen Keller relatives here. But we came in, it was a beautiful room, all yellow lights. And then the photographer's like, well, here's the thing, if I use flash, and you can see that I had a video light on my camera, video camera, if I use the flash and you're sitting there, you guys know what happens. All the photos look really bad, so they have to point them up. So like, well, what if we put a couple really bright spots on you? We'll even out that color balance. We'll make you nice and white. We don't want your dress looking yellow and hideous, and that's where dynamic white's really important. We want to make sure we give you a nice, bright, cool white, and they were happy with it. And I did just that with these two. Now, with my average wedding, if I'm just bringing this system out, and I'm using Airstream DMX or whatever just to let it run on, you know, basically by itself on some pre-made stuff, it's like couple $100, nothing major. The moment that I'm sitting there and I'm moving lights back and forth and trying to program, make it fit right, that price goes up another couple $100. Just because I sat there and I took my time. And some people may say, wow, that's really expensive, but we're often paying a carpenter $500 to nail one nail in. The nail costs 95 cents, but knowing where to put the nail is where all the money was. And that's really where it came down to that. Other important thing is, for example, zooming lights. And I really wish I could show you the Z4s, but we had some issues with our CompuShow box over here and Windows more than anything else, it seems. But basically, zoom lights are so important because if you don't have a big budget, these will do almost everything that you would want them to do for a basic event. So what does a zoom light do? Well, it zooms in and out. And we'll have to pretend that I just turned this on and it was a nice, beautiful color, and it zooms in, and no joke, it goes from here, and it would fill up the entire room. And then you guys go, ooh, ah. We can edit that in later. So I do have videos of that downstairs, and I can show you, or I can show you in person. But here's the thing. If I talk to a bride, and let's say I haven't bought any lights, and I talk to a bride, and she's like, well, I want to be able to have, you know, like a spotlight on me and then light up the entire room. Okay, we're going to need a spotlight. We're going to need floodlights around the room. So that's basically 3 to 4 lights you're going to have to buy. But now I can do the same thing with these zoom lights, because these zoom lights, I can zoom in all the way at 10 degrees, do a nice spot, and sometimes I'll put one on each side. The reason is, again, if you have your lights here and you're, let's say this is a Z4 as well, and you're hitting the bride and groom during the first dance, that's only from one angle. Any good lighting design, you should know, you want to hit from opposite angles if at all possible. In reality, you want to hit from 3, but 2 is better than just 1. So put a Endo Z4 on each side. You can put it on a totem or top of your speaker, I don't care. Put one on top of there, hit the bride and groom. When they're done, you point them up straight up a little bit, zoom out all the way, and now you've flooded that entire room with color. I especially love these when the venue decides that they're gonna put me way in the corner, nobody puts baby in the corner. So I'll be over there, I'll put my lights on the opposite corner, and I'm not worried about not having lights on the dance floor. Like, these are great lights. Thank God for these lenses. But if I'm, let's say, 40, 50 feet away from the dance floor, these are gonna put light everywhere. But these, at least I can zoom in and out. Now some people say, well, but these don't have gobos. Unless you're doing something with that gobo, no, I guarantee you, you will never have somebody on the dance floor go, that's a moon, that's a star, Lucky Charms. Nobody's ever gonna do that. Nobody's ever gonna tell you, listen, you are a great DJ, I love the lighting, but I was expecting a swirl. I did not get a swirl. I'm not saying gobos aren't important, I'm just saying if they're not part of your lighting design, if they're not adding to the event, who cares? So I've gotten away from doing spots, and I use the Z4s unless the bride and groom want a spotlight. Or sometimes we'll double up and we'll have these, we'll put the Z4s on top, the other pocket spot twins. Again, super easy show, using DJ lighting, but I'm designing it like an LD. Next, I'm going to talk about custom shows for intros. This is where the money really comes in. So we've got, let's say, a basic show like that, right? And the bride and groom don't need anything fancy. But then they tell you, and they always hit you with this, I want to do something exciting for my grand entrance, right? If you guys know Peter Mary, he's always talked about doing like the custom intro for each couple, right? And then some people will go as far as actually mixing individual songs for each couple as they walk in. Well, what I do is I go one step further. Where's my iPad? Here we go. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Airstream DMX, but man, I love Airstream DMX. Let me see if I have a copy here. If not, it's on my phone. But on Airstream, no, it's on my phone over there, sorry. On Airstream, if you guys haven't seen it, imagine the main page where you can select your buttons. It's like a matrix full of different buttons and scenes that you can choose. I pre-program my scenes for each individual couple as they walk in. So I asked the bride and groom, okay, so what's their favorite color? Please don't say green. You guys know about green, right? Yep. Don't use green, you guys understand, it makes people look sick. You understand you don't use yellow either, because Canon cameras suck and it's gonna show yellow as green. That's just the way it works. Unless you have amber, then you throw amber in there and it'll color correct on Canon. We can do a whole later discussion about that part. So I ask them, what's their favorite color? What song are they gonna walk into? And I will literally sit there and I'll make a quick show, just something basic. But then I'll name each scene after the couple. So I'm killing a couple birds with each stone because now I don't have to have it sit there on a piece of paper. I got my Airstream DMX, I call each couple out, I hit the button, I have their names right in front of me. Bonus points, if you use a DMX software, like for example, I actually have Airstream. It triggers, I made a little small, it's a MIDI or DMX to MIDI app, and there's tons of them out there. But basically this allows you to feed DMX into your computer and it outputs a MIDI command. Why is that important? Because now I can have Airstream DMX trigger the songs for me. So now I can be away from my DJ system, I can be like MC, like Ryan Seacrest minus 3.5 feet, and as I'm introducing everybody, I'm able to change the song, I'm able to do whatever I need to with one person. And the reason that I mention that is because, again, this is about running your shows, being a true LD, but being cheap. And apparently, if you hire somebody to work for you, they want money. So if anybody can tell me how you convince people to do unpaid internships, let me know. That would be awesome. But the reason is why? Why would you do all that? I get a lot of resistance when I've talked about this. Oh, my clients don't care. Yeah, they don't care because you haven't made them care. 10 years ago, did anybody really want a phone without a keyboard? Anybody? Because I remember when the iPhone came out, and then the Voyager. Verizon released this horrible disaster called the Voyager. And it says, finally, a real smartphone with a keyboard. And that was great for 10 seconds, and then it got discontinued. Steve Jobs, I'm a huge Steve Jobs fan. When they actually invented the iPad was invented before the iPhone. When they invented the iPad, everything was great. When they said, hey, let's shrink it down and turn it into a phone first. They said, well, how, what are your clients going to say? What are the end users going to say? They're going to want a keyboard. I don't care what they want. They don't know what they want. Steve Jobs ran his entire company knowing that end users don't know what they want. And unfortunately, we don't. Which is why one minute we're hating one phone, then the next minute we're buying it. Oh, Apple's ridiculous. I'm not going to buy a phone every week. I don't know about you guys, but I'm ready to buy the iPhone 8. I don't even know what's in it. I just know that I want it. So think about that when you sell to your clients. Your clients may not say, oh, I want this and this with lighting, because they don't know. Because every DJ's talking about, oh yeah, we have DJ lights. What the heck are DJ lights? Are these pocket spots gonna come down and DJ for me? That'd be so cool. So there's that unpaid internship. Like, they don't know. They don't know what the heck DJ lights are. When you say I have DJ lights, the first thing most people think of are strobe lights or mirror balls. Does anybody here bring strobe lights and mirror balls to weddings? And if you do, that's fine, but most of us don't. But yet people still think about that, which is why hotels hate DJs, by the way. But again, we'll save that for a rant. So first of all, it's easier to sell your services, not just as a DJ, not just as an entertainer, but the person whose job is to make sure their wedding will not suck. Look, I don't want to diss anybody that puts emphasis on emceeing. Being a good MC is important. Being a proper host is very important. But we came to this industry because we wanted to be DJs. We wanted to be rock stars. We want to go wiki. And people are like, oh my God, you're so cool. That's why we did this. Either that or because we realized that being in IT sucks. So, sorry, Daniel. No, I mean, one reason or another. We became DJs because we like music. Nobody says, man, I hate music, I'm going to be a DJ. But that being said, everybody's selling their services the same way. When you tell a bride, not only can I rock your wedding, but I can put a visual aspect to it that nobody else can. And that sounds expensive, but I'm using the same light some other people are using. Let me show you photos and videos. That's the next part. How many of you guys have photos and videos of every event that you've done, or at least 80%? I am so proud of y'all. That's the first time people have raised their hands. I ask my competition all the time, like I go to your website and there isn't a single video of you. Why? In this day and age of YouTube, Instagram, Snapchat, if you don't have photos and videos of yourself at every gig, you're hiding something, plain and simple. That's like if you go to a restaurant, it's like, yeah, I'd like to try this, before I pay you for my catering. There's always a taste test. Imagine if chef said, no, I can't. But I have some wedding wire reviews from people you'll never talk to. It makes better photos and videos, not only for you, not only for the vendors that you work with. I have vendors who refer me because I'm not going to put strobe lights or lasers in the middle of their first dance, because I understand what color temperatures does to a camera. I'm going to tell you right now, if you guys have never edited photos on Lightroom, there is nothing more excruciating than trying to get blue to look good on camera when you're also using purple at the same time. It's awful, which is why you go with hex LEDs. In case you guys don't know, blue and red make purple, right? According to Canon, it makes pink. So when you color correct it for blue, that purple turns to blue. And the reason is because blue is a stronger color in most Canon sensors. So when you have that hex LED, I'm not using that blue LED as much. I'm using red. I'm using that purple, that UV LED. And now it actually looks like a real purple. It looks like a real pink. So because of that, vendors like working with me. And I'll be honest with you, I'm a pain in the butt. I wouldn't want to work with me. So the fact that people want to work with me because of what I've done with the lighting design, that says a lot. But it also helps advertise my services even better. You go to any one of the photos on our website or blog, I don't care how big or how small the setup is, it looks good. The lighting is right, because I put just as much emphasis on that as I do looking for 25 million remixes of Despacito. Not because people like that song, because my wife hates it, so I try to find a different way to annoy her every day. But most importantly, return of investment. If this is you, I'm sorry. If you guys are in Florida, there's a DJ in my area that I just found out is advertising 12 cans of wireless uplighting and a gobo for $375. I'm gonna pay this guy to just work for me. I'm like, look, you don't have to even bring anything, just set it up, because if you're doing it for $375, that's awesome. The thing is I know who he is, and I've tried to tell him to stop being cheap. He was charging $350 before, so he bought all these wireless uplights and is charging $25 more for her service. I don't care if you're working 52 weeks out of the year, that's a terrible ROI. That being said, when you get lighting, your price should go up. Your price should not be included with the lights. You can say, oh yeah, this price it's all inclusive. It comes with me, it comes with lights, but those lights should be enrolled into the price of your package. You don't charge $12.95, add $5,000 worth of lights, and now you're $12.95. Well, you just now threw away money. So really think about that better ROI part of that. And the most important part is because it helps you stand out. Again, more people are using Instagram, more people are using YouTube. If you don't think brides are not researching you on these social media outlets, and they're not comparing your work against other people, you're kidding yourselves. It's more than just Yelp. Yelp just seems people just wanting to yell at each other anyways. I think that's why it's called Yelp. Wedding Wire, most brides are skeptical of reviews. I actually heard a DJ say, I like when I get a 1-star review because it makes me look more authentic. What? Well, if you have too many 5-star reviews, people get fishy. What? Do you not have photos and videos of your work to show you're a 5-star DJ? And it was like a blank stare. It's like, oh, I don't have time. I'm looking at your Snapchat. It's a bunch of, like, no, dude, if you got time to do that, you can look. I got my camera on a tripod. Okay, you can do that. It takes 10 seconds to do. Well, 15 if you buy a little cheap holder like I did. There's no reason not to have photos and videos. You want the brides to compare you. If you know your craft, if you know you're good, if you have good lighting design, by all means, put photos and videos. But when it comes to lighting, photos are the most important thing to help you. Because you could be the best DJ in the world. If I have, let's say, myself here and another DJ and another DJ, and we're all like this because for some reason DJs decide they want to do this when the photographer's taking a photo of them. Can you guys tell me who the better DJ is by one photo? Anybody? No. But I can tell you who brought the better package just by looking at the background of that photo. So, that being said, that's my rant seminar. Hope you learned something. If you didn't, please don't contact me. Actually, you can go to gearitfirst.com. There's some great stuff at Gear It First. And all my YouTube videos are also, just search Gear It First. And you can also go on Facebook searching
Gear It First.
There you go. So guys, any questions or anything, please let me know. And again, if you don't have DMX software, come down and see me. I'll make sure Canal takes good care of you guys. Thank you.